blue zones. And there are these areas around the world where people live to be really, really old, like they have long life expectancies. And one of the things that all of these places had in common was just the environment. The environment was primed for people to be healthy, for people to have, you know, really good qualities of life. So the surroundings are important, but he went a step further. He didn't only stop at physical surroundings. He talked about the people that you surround yourself with. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So I was trying to join the request that you sent, and it wasn't letting me go through. And there was something wrong with the sound, and it's just a mess. But we here now, so thank you for having me.
And you look absolutely beautiful. I love it, bro. It looks amazing. Hey, Miss Momo Love. Yes. So I don't know if T told you, but I like to build, learn, aspire, and collaborate and share keys with people in the community that are leaders. And you are definitely, after researching your page, you've been leading and you've been organizing, you've been talking to the community about what's going on right now, you know? And we really appreciate you being out here on the front lines and living in your purpose as far as communications go, you know?
Thank you.
Tonight, I want to talk to you about healing, surrounding yourself by, you know, good people. I want to talk a little bit about defunding the police and what does that mean and getting some education on that. I want to talk about transformations. I want to talk about knowing if you're on the right path. How do you know if you're on the right path? And then we're going to talk about some keys and concepts. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so let's talk about healing. I saw one of your posts and you were talking about that, you know. Sometimes you need to take that time out to heal. And what I've been thinking about me personally lately is, you know, trying to organize or coordinate a time for me to get to, because everybody needs healing, you know, get to a place where I can actually focus on healing, whether it be take off time from work or maybe take a little time off of other projects that I'm working on. What are some things that you do to get the ball rolling on your healing process?
Yeah, so great question. And I am trying to figure out, I am so like IG Live, I'm trying to figure it out. But where does it make sense for me to look? Because right now I'm looking at you. Does that look weird or?
No, you look great.
Okay, cool. Because I'm like, I always try to figure out like, where should my eyes be? But anywho, some things that I do is I finally, in this whole time of COVID-19, I've pretty much been in self-isolation most of the time. So I do not like work in an office anymore, or, you know, anything like that. I have one job function that I have to leave the house for, but other than that, like, I'm pretty much at home if I'm not running errands, you know, to the store and whatnot. But I have finally been able to have a daily routine for the morning. And that's really where it starts for me. I had always wanted to have a morning ritual. I've always wanted to have a consistent time set aside in my day where I poured into myself and focused on my spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being. It's been hard to get there because I've worked a lot of different kind of jobs. I've worked in the service industry. I've worked in warehouses. I've done a lot of different things, and you don't always get the time to focus on you when you do those type of things for a living, because your schedule could be all over the place. It's physically and mentally exhausting, you know, so it takes a lot out of you. But even when I was working those jobs, like, one of my things was, like, when I used to ride the bus, I would be listening to things on my phone that were like motivational, you know, kind of get the day started. I've been somebody that journals for a really long time. Like ever since I was a little girl, I've kept a journal. I really wish I had some of those old journals to like look back on. I feel like they would tell me a lot. But I'm a person that journals and has been doing that for a long time. So every morning I start out my day with journaling. I meditate, I pray. I do other things. Right now, I'm in a very flexible space where I'm kind of like trying on different practices and different stuff to see like, oh, do I like this? Do I like this thing over that thing? So incorporating different things and just kind of seeing, you know, what my spirit responds to. But I think that it's important to, no matter what your life looks like, to have some time set aside, even if it's a small amount every day. You know, even if it's 5 minutes when you brush your teeth in the morning or whatever, have a small amount of time set aside where you are intentionally thinking about your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Because to be completely honest, it's the fuel that you need to get through. Without pouring into yourself in that way, everything that you want to accomplish is going to be hard. It's going to be way harder than it needs to be. And you're just not going to be able to power through certain situations as good as you can, you know, because you don't have that fuel. So it's, for me, it's almost the difference between like driving into town and like having to push your car into town. Yeah, because you don't ran out of gas. So that's kind of how I look at it.
You stole, like, I don't know if we were telecommunicating this, but you stole those words, the intentional, right from my brain. You know, I woke up this morning with some intentions, and I got half of them knocked out. And so we'll see what happens after Bliss talk with the rest of them.
That's good.
But that's something that, you know, I spoke with someone else on Bliss Talk, and we talked a lot about manifestation, and we were talking about ways that we can practice manifestation. And so one of the ways that I practice is setting intentions, you know, thinking about how you want something to go the next day, or even with something as little as what do you want to have to drink when you wake up, you know, do you want to get you a big glass of water or a glass of tea, you know? And so practicing and being intentional has kind of helped me learn how to practice manifestation. You know, I feel like they go hand in hand. So I think that's beautiful. What time do you wake up in the mornings?
So the goal is 7:30 a.m. Does that always happen? No. But that is the goal. That is my intention, is to wake up at 7:30 on most days. On Sunday mornings, I'm up at 6:30 for work. But I figured out for me that my times between 7:30 and 9 is like prime time for me to do all of the stuff I need to do for myself in terms of like writing, reading like spiritual texts and things like that, meditating if I want to do some yoga that day. Between 7:30 and 9 is like my time. And then I don't start and making tea. I drink tea almost every morning. I do not deal with people and stuff before 10 a.m. if I can help it. Again, that's the goal. You know, in a perfect world, if I'm in control of every hour of my day, that's how it goes. Unfortunately, when you work for other people, you are not in control of every hour of your day, and there may be times where, you know, stuff happens earlier than that or whatever. But that's how I try to work that out.
Find time to work out as well.
Working out for me, I am not a big fan. I am not a big fan. Well, I'll say this. I like how working out makes me feel. I like how it makes me feel. It makes me feel energized. It makes me feel strong in my body. It makes me feel more grounded in my body, so I understand the benefits of it. I have a hard time committing to the act of it, and that's just like, that's one of my hurdles I'm trying to work through. But I've learned, again, something that this whole journey that I've been on has taught me is that it is so much better to go with the flow and to like find your own flow.
Right.
So if there's things that you're good at, like lean into that, and the things that don't really like click with you, like don't spend so much energy on it. So like for me, I don't like going to the gym. When I was working out more frequently before COVID, I was taking classes at my cat just knocked over my trash.
I saw your cat in some of your videos. Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl. Her name is
She's so pretty. I saw her playing with the light over here. I have 2 cats. So
really? Okay, cool.
T'Challa and Marshall. And yeah, I definitely understand. They do what they want to do.
They do. So anywho, before I was interrupted by Miss Opal, so I was taking classes that are fun, that feel like dancing, that feel like just stretching and stuff like that. Because that's the only way I was going to convince myself to work out, was to make it fun. So now since COVID hit, my gym is closed. They might be back open now. I don't know, but I'm not going. I don't care. And I didn't want to do it on Zoom because I hated being in front of the computer like all day. Yeah. So I just recently bought a bicycle, and that will be my thing. I will be doing the bicycle and just riding around town, because I'm like, okay, that'll get me outside. I like being outside, and it'll give me like something to do that is fun and enjoyable, but keeps me together. So that's my new thing, is to ride the bike.
I always like to chop it up with people because, you know, as you're getting older, exercise is probably something you should be doing.
Yes, it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah, it's hard to find time. It's hard to find that willpower and everything like that. And I'm just like, I want to chop it up with people and get some more ideas on how I can make it more of a part of my lifestyle. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. It's got to be a lifestyle. It's got to be something that's intentional, or something that can be fun, something that's not gonna, you know, you're not dreading every time you're thinking about it. Like, dang, get to the daggone gym. One of the things I really love to do while I'm exercising is listen to music, like you were saying. And I saw something on Amazon. It's like $98 is for an elliptical, and it's like compatible and stuff like that. I think that might be the thing for me.
So what is it? Is something you hook to the elliptical, or like what is?
No, it's an actual elliptical on Amazon for $98. So I'm thinking about getting that. The only thing that I'm concerned about with that is the assembly of it. So
I was gonna say, girl, please read the reviews.
Yes.
The reviews. I just had to return something to Amazon today because I seen it and said, "Oh, I need one of those. That's gonna be so perfect." And it was horrible. It did not do nothing I thought it was gonna do. It was the little sticky butterfly bras with the little drawstring.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that shit don't work.
I'm glad you said that, because my best friend is in here now and we were talking about that bra.
Yeah, no, I think it works if you're like an A cup, B cup, small C cup, like as far as the diameter of your chest or whatever. But anything above a C cup, don't fool with it. I don't know how, because I've seen videos of people that wore them on Instagram and they have like really big breasts, and I'm like, how did y'all wear this and it actually stay? Because this thing I bought was a waste of money, so I had to turn that in.
Thank you for letting the people know and giving that good old review of that thing, so nobody go out here and try to buy it.
No, just leave it alone. It ain't for you.
Yes. We talked about healing. For those of you who just joined the Bliss Talk, thank you so much for joining in here. We're having this 30-minute inspiring conversation with Miss Ebony Chappel. She is a writer and a journalist, and she is the host of Open Line Show on 106.7. WTLC. We just talked about healing and what that meant for us, because healing it comes in all shapes and sizes, whatever that healing process is for you. We talked about making time and setting intentions on how you are going to go about your process of healing, and she shared a few of her ways that she gets the ball rolling when she's ready to get to that healing process. The next thing I want to talk to you about is surroundings and the people around you. I saw on your post that you were, writing about the gratitude that you had for the people that were around you, and I think that's very important, especially if you're trying to make it somewhere, you're trying to achieve something. If you got some goals and you want the people around you to be very encouraging and give you, like, or pour into you when you need it,
Mm-hmm.
So can you give me your perspective on that? Why that's important?
Yeah, and thank you for that question. That is so important, and how timely that is that you bring that up is so important, because actually last night I was watching something on PBS, and the doctor that was I don't know if he was a doctor for sure, so let me not say that. But the man that was being interviewed about something called blue zones. And there are these areas around the world where people live to be really, really old, like they have long life expectancies. And one of the things that all of these places had in common was just the environment. The environment was primed for people to be healthy, for people to have, really good qualities of life. So the surroundings are important, but he went a step further. He didn't only stop at physical surroundings. He talked about the people that you surround yourself with. And he got kind of raw. He was like, if you are obese and you don't want to be, like, look at the 3 people that you spend the most time with. Are they obese? Like, chances are you're going to be obese too. He was like, if they like to eat certain type of stuff and you hang around them all the time, you're going to be eating it. If they do hard drugs, chances are you're going to be doing hard drugs. So, I mean, all of those are like kind of superficial examples of it. But my surroundings are so important to me. So, like, where I live, like my home, I try to be very on top of, like, how I operate with that. Because I know that if my surroundings are well put together and they make me feel comfortable and safe, then I'm going to be in a better mental state. Absolutely. If I'm around people that help support me being the best that I can be, I'm going to be in a good mental state. It's hard, though, because there are some times where you might, I'm not even going to put it off on you. I'm just going to talk about me. Make it personal. But there have been times where I've had to remove myself from people that I'm close to. Over time, due to, like, a series of different things that just helped to reveal to me that I might love this person, I might really enjoy being friends with them, or different things we do together, we might have a good time. But if I'm going in one direction in life and they're going in a different direction, sometimes you just go your separate ways. There's people that, I've been close to that I think are great people, but they don't want the same things out of life that I want. And not even on a materialistic level. Sometimes it is on a materialistic level. Like, if you're the person that wants to, have a better credit score, you want to, try to have a home for your family one day, and you kicking it with somebody that just want to trick off their money every week on foolishness, like, that's not the type of environment you need to be in to build the kind of life that you want to have. So
absolutely,
that's been a hard lesson that I've had to learn over and over again, ever since, being a kid up until being an adult. And the one thing I can say is that it's real. Like, the people you surround yourself with are a good barometer for where you're going to be in life. Absolutely. And if you want to go further, it's not about being friends with people just because, like, they make you look good or they put you on. But when you're like-minded, with certain people, like when you're kindred, y'all are going to find each other anyway and be gravitated towards each other and be building each other up. And that's just kind of how it goes. So if you want to be that way, you have to surround yourself with those kind of people. And I've seen my life be changed in so many positive ways because of the people that I've decided to become friends with and surround myself with.
Absolutely. Shout out to No More. Erica, she makes t-shirts. She's a Black owned business as well. Nice. And she said I came in right on time, very relatable. And we were just talking about our surroundings and who we are surrounding ourselves by. And Erica's actually one of the members in a tribe group that we have. And on Juneteenth, I found myself wanting to be around all of those tribe members, people that that represent Black excellence right here in my community. You know, I wanted to be around them, chop it up with them, because I have friends that have more of a business mentality, and most of my conversations that I really enjoy has something to do with business. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the frequency that I'm really on. I love to build, learn, inspire, bliss talk. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was so brilliant that you posted something about that, your surroundings, and how important that is to you, you know. And even to some of my friends that might not be on the same frequency, just kind of bringing it up sometimes and seeing it, how far that conversation goes, and just maybe get the wheels turning about something as well.
That's a good one, because sometimes you know, we all had to start somewhere. Like, nobody came out the womb like with the instructions. You might have had the knowing inside of you, but like, nobody came out the womb with the instructions automatically, consciously, to know, like, I need to do step A, step B, step C. Like, it gets revealed to you kind of along the way. So some people, you know, they may not be there today, but if they have the desire to be
right,
you might be the person that helps, you know, inspire them to take that next step. And that's good too, because we are supposed to be here to help each other. But
absolutely,
you know, on your point about kind of interrogating it a little bit, asking more questions to try to push it further, if that person's resistant, or they, you know, judge you or try to make you feel bad for trying to do better, then you know, okay, I really can't deal with you like that.
Right. Yeah. See how far the conversation goes, and see if that's, you know, something, because you want your friends to be as supportive. I mean, that's your support system. That's your lifeline. You know what I mean? And so if I can't talk to you about this, then, you know, it makes you wonder. It makes you evaluate, you know. Wonderful that we talked about that, surroundings and environment. Defunding the police. This is a heavy topic. I want you to just briefly educate us on what that means, because we hear defunding and we might think one thing, but it actually means something else. I was hearing on the radio that defunding the police is not actually like, just don't take all your money out of the police, because we need the police. Yeah. What exactly does it mean?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought that up. So when people say defunding, how I've heard it explained is like, defunding is not the same as abolishing. So to abolish the police would be like they don't exist at all. Defunding them is something that a lot of people are asking for right now, like different activist groups and whatnot. And what they would like to see happen, the people that are calling for this, is for funding from the police departments to be like taken and used for other community things. So taking money out of that budget and then using it for let's say putting it into like early childhood education, putting it into like community programming, beautification projects, whatever. I mean, fill in the blank wherever you want that money to go, but people want that money to be divested from the police department and used for social good. And it's an interesting conversation, and there are some examples of this conversation happening like all over the country right now. And personally, I think it's one worth having, because there are some police departments, like the police department where I live, they've done a lot of really, really fucked up things. Like, that's just period. I mean, that's the field in general. Has done jacked up stuff. Examples of them trying to utilize their resources to help the community. So I worked for a newspaper, and when I was working there, one of the stories that I wrote was following the local police department as they set up a door-to-door service for people in this community that was suffering from like lack of access to food, a lot of people there needed utility assistance and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you name it, like these resources were needed really, really bad in this community. So all day, and it was cold. It was so cold. Ice, snow, like that you had to like march through to get down the sidewalk because we were in residential areas. I walked with them for like hours, and we went from door to door to door asking people what they needed. So it was like, do you need utility assistance? Okay, this is a phone number you call. Do you need food? Okay, we have a whole food bank that's going to be set up in this parking lot over by this church. Y'all come to the food bank. We're also giving away toys for Christmas, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I think they had a dentist set up, like a little mobile doctor's office or something. Long story short, they had all of these resources, and I thought it was great, but there were some people that didn't come to the door. There were people that I'm sure, you know, had a little bit of apprehension because when they would open the door and see it was the police, they would be like, okay, we're just here to do wellness. Like they had to pretty much like be clear up front, like, we're not here to bother you. We're here to like help. And the reason why is because there is a big mistrust between the community and police. Like it's big in the Black community for sure, but there are other communities that distrust police and government. So I think, you know, one of the things that should happen is other people doing that work that aren't police. You know, maybe they don't need to. Where I think, like right now, there's a lot of questioning around, like, do they need to function the way they always have? Like, do they need to wear those uniforms? Does everybody even need a gun? Maybe every person doesn't need a gun. Maybe, you know, police officers just function differently than they always have. So that's the conversation that's happening now around that. I think it's an important one. I do believe that law enforcement serves a function in our community, but that function needs to be like completely like overhauled. Before, I think the conversation was reform. We need police reform. We need reform. We need reform. But this is like a house that needs to just be like burnt down. Like we need to go to scorched earth. I don't think you can reform within the structure as it currently is. Like you're stuck. There's only so much that you can do. But if you just completely like overhaul the whole thing and look at doing something differently, you can do whatever you want. At that point, like the sky's the limit. So
the way that I look at it, if I can't, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I want to make a comment because the way that I look at it, and I feel like we need more attention on our schools, after school programs, like you said, community work, rather than, you know, building a whole army of police, you know, because if you
army,
if you think about it, you know, some of the trouble that these young kids get into, for example, is because they have nowhere to go. And that's because there's not a lot of funding going into their environment. You know, I saw this video where it was talking about, you know, your zones, your school zones, and how that is set up, how the money is allocated. So instead of funding this army of police, then we need to be putting these resources here, you know? So that's the way that I look at it. And so I just wanted to make that clear tonight when we spoke about defunding the police and on why there is this hashtag going around that talks about that, you know? It's got your attention, so let's talk about it.
Exactly.
Last thing I want to talk to you tonight about this. We've been having a great conversation. I normally do like 5 topics, but we're running over time, but it's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm having a good time.
Me too. Let's talk about transformation. In the beginning of our conversation, we talked about healing, and I think that healing it's kind of like a metaphor for like maybe being in a cocoon for a while, getting yourself together so that you can make that next transformation into that beautiful butterfly. Can you tell me the last time that you felt like you were in a transformative period in your life?
Right now. Literally, like right now, today.
And what's the differences? What's been the major differences?
Yeah. So I feel like for me, the past couple of years have been extremely transformative for me. Like, I've experienced a lot of trauma, and a lot of like life changes that are pretty like crucial. But in the midst of that, you kind of get presented with an opportunity. So it's like, okay, this thing happened to you. So is it that it just stays there, like it happened to you, and then like you assume like the identity of victimhood, or like did you experience these things and like make them work for you? And that's what, and it's not easy. I think it's something that like comes and goes, because there's definitely times that I felt like a victim for years on end, actually. Like, I felt extremely victimized. And the thing is, like, something happened to me that would make me feel that way. But then I had to go through the transformation of deciding, okay, like, I am not a victim. Somebody did something to me. These things happened to me. I went through these experiences. But who I am is I'm Ebony Chappel, and that means a lot of different things to me, So if that's who I am, like, I have absolute power to do and be whatever I want to do and be. Like, especially, like, I'm a follower of Christ, so I definitely believe that little scripture that we learned in Vacation Bible School, like, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And, it's become, like, kind of cliche or whatever, but, like, I really believe that. So there is nothing that happens that I, like, have to give my power. Like, I don't have to do that. But this whole, like, being home during, like, quarantine and whatnot, you spend a lot of time by yourself. Well, I spend a lot of time by myself. I keep working on, that's something else I'm working on, like, making things personal. Like, if I'm talking about me, like, making it personal. But I spend a lot of time with myself. And when I do that, I get a lot of clues about how I operate. Like,
yeah, you learn a lot.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And I am becoming very, very aware of like who I am, the things that I value, why I value them, what sort of things I don't want to be a part of my life anymore. And that's been really, really interesting. And I'm in a state of pretty much like complete surrender. I might be holding on a little bit, but I'm in a state of pretty much like complete surrender to like the universe and whatever comes as far as my personal transformation is concerned. I am not the same person I was a couple months ago. I'll never be that person again. I don't want to be that person again. Like, so I really don't know who I'm going to be several months down the line, continuing on this path, but I'm open to seeing what that means. I've gone through some physical transformations as well. So, I used to, when I was really, really young, I used to get bullied for the way that my teeth looked. And
no,
seriously.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I got picked on because like the way, I was a little girl, and like the way that my teeth, I guess, fit in like my mouth with the way my face was shaped made me like a target for bullies or whatever. But I, of course, grew into that and then became an adult and didn't get my teeth fixed, but people always complimented my smile. They were like, oh my gosh, you have such a beautiful smile. I'm like, that's so funny because these are the same teeth I had when I was a little girl and people used to fuck with me for it. But then earlier this year, I decided to get Invisalign. So I've been wearing Invisalign for almost 6 months now. And, you know, it was expensive. It's painful. It's annoying. But it was something that I wanted to do. It was something I wanted to do for me. Because when I was a little kid, I was supposed to get braces. My parents were in charge of doing that, and the buck kept getting passed back and forth, like who was gonna do it. My daddy was supposed to do it, but then he didn't do it. My mama really couldn't do it, so it didn't get done. So then I end up like not getting what I need because like the people that had the power to do it either didn't want to or weren't in a position to help me. So I didn't have that. So then I just kind of got okay with that being my life. But then I got older. I got a job where I had the ability to pay for it, you know, through like the little health savings account or whatever. But I had the ability to do it. So then I really had to sit with myself. Like, you have the ability to change this for yourself and to do something that you wanted. Why hold yourself back when you can like go ahead and do it for yourself? So that was a transformation. Like it was a spiritual, mental, emotional thing that I had to deal with, and it took on a physical form. So I could have went the rest of my life without these damn braces and been perfectly fine. But I realized that there was something that I was still holding on to and denying myself from, and I had to look at that in all areas of my life. Like, I could do better for myself when it came to like certain things. It's like, why not just do it? Why punish yourself when you can finally have these things? Like, you can do it for yourself now. So that's been a big life lesson for me and a big part of my transformation.
I love that. It's great to hear other people's transformations and then think about some of the transformations that's going on with yourself as well. You know, I'd like to share a transformation that I've been noticing quite recently, I guess you can say, but I've been a leader of an organization for maybe about 5 years. I didn't know what I was doing when I started it. To be honest with you, I was just like a young girl, like, I'm going to start my own organization. And I actually went back to school. I went back to school to get my degree in business so I can actually learn how to run an organization, you know? And so I have like almost a 4.0 in school. Like, this is
congratulations.
Thank you. This is actually something that I'm interested in. I'm interested in learning more about how to organize and how to lead and things of that nature. So I'm picking up on this knowledge without even realizing that I'm changing because of all of the new knowledge that I'm getting, right? And so now when I'm talking to members on my team, they're noticing that the way I'm talking to them is different. The way I'm communicating with them is different. You know, they're like, wait a minute, this is not, she's like on top of it. Like she's,
you're operating with authority.
Right. This is way different than what I've seen in the beginning phases of you guys starting this, you know? And so also what I'm realizing is now because I've always been like an absorber, you know, I'm not going to really tell somebody what to do or whatever, but I'll absorb and I might ask you a whole bunch of questions because I have no idea what's going on. But now I'm seeing that people are waiting for me to say something before they say something. So that lets you know that you're transforming into this leader. People are looking at you for answers now. Whereas before you were the one trying to figure out who's leading this thing? Because I'm
who's in charge.
When you notice that you don't see nobody in front of you, but you got a whole bunch of people behind you looking like, okay, girlfriend. 'Cause, girlfriend. So it's been that. 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 noticing that transformation. You know, I'm 30 years old now, and I can honestly say that I'm becoming a leader. Like, I'm now a leader. It's our turn to make the rules now. You know what I mean? So
that is awesome. That's so awesome to hear. And I tell you, turning 30 is something else. Like, that really, it's an interesting time. So I congratulate everybody when they get to that point. Because when I hit 30, I was like, oh, for real?
Right.
Oh, okay. Cool. Right. Cool. That's what we doing. All right. Cool.
But it just means you grown now, honey.
Oh, God. Yeah.
We in prime. I mean, we're not, you know, we're still relatively young. I don't think prime is to like 40-something, 40 up there, but it's relative, you know.
Girl, I need some time before I hit my prime because I want to be able to fully take advantage of it. And I need to learn some things before I get to
it. We still got learning and growing to do. Always something to learn. Always ways to evolve and work on yourself, you know. This has been such a beautiful conversation, Ebony. I didn't get through all my questions, so we might have to reschedule again.
Well, just hit me up anytime, you know. Yes. Send me a DM and we'll figure it out. But yes. I just want to say thank you for having me and for such a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And you guys who are in here and stuck around through the Bliss Talk, you can follow me at cbliss_pics. Check out my website, blisstalkshow.life. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's totally free to subscribe. I'm not going to charge you a thing if you hit that button. I also have some Bliss Talk tees for sale as well. I got some kiwi green ones, black and white. They're really, really cute. I love the way they came out. So if you guys want to check that out, that's also on my website. Before we leave today, if you guys would like to ask Ebony a question, please type it in there. We would love to answer one question before we get out of here. And then, Ebony, while they're typing their question, can you please give us all your information so we can support you?
Yeah, of course. So you guys can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Ebony the Writer. You can see my name up here in the top of the video. Hold on. I can't do it. I was trying to point my finger in the camera. It's not going to work. But anywho, yeah, so that's where you can follow me. Everybody that is in Indianapolis, you can tune in to Open Lines radio show Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. on Hot 96.3 and 106.7 WTLC. And yeah, that's me.
Yes. Congratulations on everything. Congratulations on your transformations. And I love that you're involved in all of these different forms of journalism here. You're the host on, is it 3 different shows or is it all one show?
It's 2 different shows.
2 different shows. That's super dope. So you got 2 platforms. So you're out here and doing the work for us. And we appreciate you, Queen.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining me once again. And let's keep in touch.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.